And one of the things that we also do is to make sure that all the other functionalities and all the other flavors are on the same platform so that you can migrate from CGN to a flavor that fits within your environment.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to open the question to the floor. So we already have a line of questions. So first Don, and then we will move here.
I have a question as a consumer. So the ISP model, my ISP charges me a recurring cost every month on my cash flow business to them as a subscriber. It's a very good model. In the same way that my mobile operator charges me every month, whether I use 1 minute or how many minutes every month. And with that recurring cost, my mobile operator is able to refresh my phone for free, a $400 iPhone 3GS, if you want it for free today, every 2 years. My ISP, I don't understand. Why is it that my ISP can bill me every month, soak the money, and not upgrade my CPE once every 8 years or something like that?
Come on. There's a big difference here. Your customer, the end user, is going to go out to the shop and tell his operator, I want the latest iPhone 5, 6, 7, 8, and absolutely want that. There are no customers going to their ISP saying, I want an IPv6 enabled gateway that has 5 gigahertz wireless LAN. They don't care. They won't, yeah, okay. Present company excluded, and I have spoken to my ISP, they're in the room as well, like I really want IPv6 now, but it's not going to happen. The customers, there is no customer incentive, they just want their stuff to appear on their web pages, their cute kittens, and that's all they care about. So they're not going to go out there, the incentive is not there.
So,
John?
There are a few of them, but both of them.
Yeah, and they're all holding up their hands at the moment.
I would like to add something to what Martin said before. The cost of, if somebody decides to replace all the CPEs, the cost of replacement and the cost of CGN, we don't know the numbers, but the cost of replacing CPEs is one-time cost. The cost of CGN is ongoing, increasing cost forever.
But let's stick to the question for a second, please.
Yeah, so if I may,
John, do you want to answer it?
So Don, I mean, you know, ouch. I used to love you, man, but no. But all kidding aside, you know, there's one point in particular, right? You may buy your own CPE, right? If you purchase your modem, which is probably what you lease from your operator in a cable network, is materially different than the CPE that you're using in your home as well. Are you asking me to upgrade your Linksys, your standalone Linksys router from 10 years ago, or are you asking me about your modem? Because I can assure you, I've taken care of your modem already, right? And there's a material difference between, are you asking me about the wireless device that you bought at Fry's, or are you asking me about the cable specific equipment that provides you internet service? That's a very important point and something that, you know, of distinction there.
I don't want to put word in Don's mouth, but I'm pretty sure he's asking for both.
Well, so my question still stands, right? I mean, if Don had purchased his original CPE because, you know, from Walter's point of view, that, you know, he wanted to have the choice to purchase an Apple Airport. Why would I even consider paying for Don's Apple?
$400.
Yeah. So, question here.
So I think my comment will go towards the same line.
Please introduce yourself.
Andrew Yuchenko. So it's obvious that supporting the V4 only CPE costs you, all right, versus the V6 enabled CPE that you certified and that you tested. So the question is, can you somehow decouple the cost of that and visibly include that in the package so that I as a consumer can see, okay, well, if I can buy the CPE that can fulfill your requirements, I can pay X amount less.
So are you asking, is there a way to make it so that you can make your own independent consumer-based decisions without having to buy my equipment, but
exactly.
still maintaining the minimum requirements?
So you create the incentive for the consumers to pay less and select the right equipment, because until you make the operation of IPv4 only CPEs more expensive than V6 only for the consumer, they will keep buying IPv4 only and they will keep connecting to you.
So that's back to the question of having a little discount for an IPv6 service.
It's not really a discount. So the gas price has doubled in the past few years, right? And in certain countries, they increased faster than in other countries. And the car manufacturers in those countries kind of started to adapt to that, right? And the consumers also were forced to look at the alternatives, which include electric cars, because, well, for me as a consumer, having electric car doesn't bring any benefits, right? But if I can pay less for gas, that starts to bring good
I
incentives.
think, Andrew, the interesting point here is even in cases where we do that, where we could say, hey, you should if you're going to buy your own CPE, you should do these sort of things to be, for the best COMCAST experience, right? There are so many cases where people say, yeah, you know what? I just don't care. I still want my airport, right? I still want my E4200. I still want my whatever, whether it meets those requirements or not, right? So from your point of view, and probably most of the people in this room, maybe what we're talking about would work, but I still have 17,990,900 other people out there that may not care.
So we have a question in the other side of the room here. Oh, please, you were on the line first, yes, and then we move to Jason.
So this is Gerlervik from HP, and actually this is from a little personal one. At the end of the day, there's no doubt that the subscriber will end up paying for the CPE upgrade, in my mind. Although the whole thing is who is driving it, and that whole fundamental around this is the service providers do really need to move people over to IPv6, and to fundamentally get that move going, they need to drive it. So to avoid having to put people behind abominations or evilness like carrier grade NAT or things you really don't want to put into your network to kind of take away opportunities of building new services, you cannot simply sell IPv6. IPv6 is not sellable as such. However, you can create services that attract users to migrating. See, that is the challenge for the ISPs. Create services that drive the move, right? So direct connections, all those good things. Finding the killer app. Get it to be sexy. And that's the service you're selling. That's the shiny, glittery, nice iPhone or whatever.
Or there's or services which could include potentially content, and there's middle ground there potentially, right? So we all know in this room that if any one of us who serves a large population of people said, hey, I'll turn it on when you ask for it, we all recognize that the phone lines will be dead forever, right? So the other alternative, somewhere in between, is to turn it on. Turn it on and say, hey, if you're interested in V6, or and perhaps put some clever marketing around it, you could say, hey, the only thing that you'll need to do is purchase potentially a new CPE, or turn it on, or you already have it.
I would like to make a comment to your comment. Is when we went from 802.11b to 802.11g, a lot of people went to the electronics store and bought some new CPEs because there was something that was obviously different and obviously beneficial. So what you're saying is that we need somehow to do the same thing, make it beneficial for a customer to have IPv6. But on the other hand, we have heard all week long that a customer should not know. It should be totally transparent to the customer. So we really have a tussle here between it has to be transparent to the customer, and we need to get the benefits for the customer to pay for it.
So,
Martin, address this.
So you redeemed yourself nearly at the end there. I hate to say that I'm saying this, but V6 is not the answer to sell better, newer boxes. Yeah. It's very simple. And again, I'm taking the retail model versus the lease model on this one. If I go to the retail shops and I walk down, and in my local electronics super warehousey place, it's a whole aisle, and there is Linksys and Cisco, there is D-Link, there is many other manufacturers there, and they all vie for space. But more importantly, they vie for that eye contact to say, buy my box. And what's on that box? It's not the V6 Ready logo or the words V6. It is words like 300 megahertz of N, or storage, or better game playing, or USB storage, or things, or gig ports, or whatever. It is not about V6, it's about those other things. So if you look at the marketplace, CPE is not sexy. I know why Don gets a new phone every 2 years. I know why I get a new phone every 2 years. I know the economics of that. I'm sorry, but yes, that phone is sexy. That phone does appeal. There is a brilliant marketing campaign to convince me to get a new phone. Oh, and V6 sort of came along as part of that process to talk about that. It's not easy to make CPE sexy. In the lease world, it's probably impossible to do that. but at least it's worth a try, because if you can convince people game playing is better, or you've got more ability to connect storage or printing or whatever, that's how you're going to move CPE out there. The V6 movement is this room and others of like mind, and unfortunately that's not enough to move this.
So I'm going to take two last questions. It's time to wrap up this panel. So there was a question from Jason, and there was a question here.
Jason Fessler, Yahoo. As we talk about who's going to pay for these upgrades and the drivers for these upgrades, I question what we're solving for. New subscribers, we tell them, buy this, buy one of these, we provide it, whatever. That's the one-time cost that they're going to pay reasonably at the time they take on that new service. For existing customers, in markets where CGN is not yet dominant, I don't know that there is a strong driver for them to go to V6. I don't know there's a strong driver for us to make them go V6. They have full spectrum internet today. Now, in the future, we're starting to hear stories about a little bit about I could not reach my bank or my tax service while in Vietnam. And that is very interesting, but I don't know how wide that is yet. And certainly it's not a driver for my mother to go get an IPv6 modem to pay for it or ask their provider to. I do see in certain countries where CGN is dominant now that the cost of V4 address sharing is a real cost, a growing cost. For existing subscribers, there might be a little bit more motivation for those particular carriers to come up with incentives or some other plan. But again, I just want to say, what are we trying to solve for?
Thank you for the comment. There was a question here. Yes, mic is coming.
It's Durand. The ISPs that are providing the boxes are often very good at promoting those boxes for all sorts of different features, like the wireless bandwidth and the printing and USB file server, whatever. It's the Alti box, it's the Get box, the Free box, the Live box, and so on and so on. And of course, there's new features all coming to those all around, and you don't want to forklift upgrade it. So what I've seen some ISPs doing is that they're saying, so if you actually are willing, dear customer, to sign a contract that you're going to stay with us for the next 12 months, we'll give you this new box for free. And at some point, that new box, which they will want for the printing or maybe even for the IPv6, they will get it for free. And the ISP gets a certain income from that customer for some period in time. And that, then you don't have to sell IPv6 per se then, you just sell all the features that come with the new box, and you're done.
Thank you for your comment. So what I would like to do is to ask each of the panelists to make like a 10-second closing remark, and then we will conclude this panel. So would you like to start?
Well, just if you're looking for IPv6 support CPE, just go for the link, and I'm sure you will be satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
I have no additional comments. Thanks.
I'm just going to say what I've been wanting to say for a while. We've all been talking about the carrot here. Yes, the ISP can drive it. Maybe we need to talk about the stick. Maybe we need regulatory intervention. Like the European Code of Conduct says, CPE devices need to have so much power consumption in their particular mode of operation and in standby, which is probably why they're blaming global warming on your box, and CO2 goes CO2, etc., etc. Maybe the regulator needs to say that you are going to give IPv6 to your customer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would tend to agree that IPv6 is not directly sellable, but we didn't touch today about the growth of FTTH, and probably FTTH could be a good trigger in order to start this CPE renewal, and as part of it, you would probably get IPv6.
Thank you. Ole?
So CPE is no longer the problem. IPv6 is enabled by default, as Mark says. So let's focus on the other parts, the 15% that we're missing. Get ISP access, but CPE is there if you want to.
Thank you. Carl?
Well, I can only agree. We don't do slideware anymore. We go to the customer, use the box in their network, and show what it works.
Thank you. Michel?
One thing actually I want to comment on how to get people on a new CPE. One thing that we're doing in the Netherlands is we provide free services on V6. So for normal services that you have to pay for on V4, they basically enable it for free if you're coming in on a V6 network. And I think from that respect also the 6 tunnels don't really help in this perspective because you can just get a tunnel, get the service for free without swapping out your CPE. No offense, but...
Thank you. Chiara?
Okay, I agree that CPEs are already available. What we need is the business model to go for IPv6 services. Some clues comes from this panel, but according to me, they are not so applicable in our context. So we still need to find a service model that can help us to go for IPv6.
Thank you. Jan?
So there is not much left to add. I would like to say stop inventing new transition mechanisms. Please. Choose stateless, avoid translation, and for ISPs, stop finding excuses. Start moving IPv6 packets, and stop moving PowerPoints.
And send me your checkbook.
Martin, you have the last word.
I have the last word, and I'm going to quote this microphone. It says low battery.
So with that excellent remark, I would like to thank you very, very much, our panelists today.